Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Molinda Jae, and I'm here to talk about 7 ways to work on yourself. Okay, was it? No, it's 7 ways to focus on yourself. I'm sorry, 7 ways to focus on yourself. All right, and why is it important? Why we need to incorporate it? The list goes on. So, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe because the good content is gonna be coming. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to it. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen and share and maximize it. So today we're gonna be talking about how to focus on yourself with courtesy by healthline.com. All right, as well as I'll be using another source called We Relove and Rise.com as well. So before I get into that one, hold on. So we have Relove and Rise.com as the first source, and this is like why is it important to focus on ourselves, because we do tend to like to focus on other people, but when it comes to focusing ourselves, it is like a give and take. So with this article with 5 reasons why you need to start focusing on yourself, we're just going to focus on why is it important. All right. So let's see here, why is important. Okay, here, right here. So it states 5 crucial reasons why you need to start focused on yourself. If there's one thing that I've learned on my journey, it's incredibly important to focus on yourself and your goals and dreams at some point, because I know it's like not what it's like to not have to, and believe me, it's not pretty. I'm pretty sure many of you are full-born people pleaser and love to see people happy. I love it. There's no better feeling than to see someone smile and feel love. Is there something wrong with that? Of course not. Nothing is wrong at all, as long as you know what you're in for. So you will ask yourself, how often are you putting your needs last? Meaning your goals and your well-being, your life always being the afterthought in your day. And for this person within this article, it's like, I've always put my needs last, and drop of a hat would upspend my schedule and accommodate others in their lives. So does it sound like you? So in other words, oh my gosh, this freaking fly. Go away. Go away. So in other words, and in other news, when it comes to focusing on yourself, and just this is just me speaking, because within this article it's more like with this article it's giving what it's supposed to give, but not necessarily. So I'm just going to switch on over to this tab here. If I can click on it, there we go, because the share screen part is like in the way. So I'm just gonna focus on this, because it'll give us the 7 reasons why. So when it comes to focusing on yourself, right? And why is it important? Well, firstly, you improve your relationships when you tend to focus on yourself. You tend to improve on your relationship with not only with yourself, but also those that you interact with. And then also, when you fill your cup first on a mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, and financial aspect, it gives you the sense of self-esteem, self-acceptance, self-worth. And check out my self-worth video. I'll link it in the description box below. I did do a self-worth video in regards to knowing your self-worth beyond the material possessions, because we're in the age where we like to floss what we have as a form of self-worth, when really It lies within your characteristics and knowing yourself as thyself to know your self-worth. So when it comes to focusing on yourself, you might be the type of person, as stated in the other article that I just read, that you may be a people pleaser. Like, as soon as someone will call you, you will drop your stuff on the dime. You're like, whatever you're working on at the moment, you'll just drop everything and you'll tend that person's need. And then whenever you get done tending to that person's needs and they get whatever they got from you, then once you get towards yourself, it's just like, well, I'm pretty much booped and I don't have enough energy to give myself. So that's like breaking, giving, and receiving one-on-one. Like, you cannot overextend yourself to a point where you don't have for yourself, because if you don't have time for yourself, then you don't have time for anybody. And basically you're like living in that martyr syndrome, that you feel like you have to save somebody all the dang time, and really that person that you're trying to save don't want to be saved at the time. It's almost like that sound, don't save them, they don't want to be saved, don't save them. Okay, when it gets to that form of act, you just got to let that person be until they're ready to make that change and be able to focus on themselves. But as long as they are out and about doing whatever they want to do, and then they come to you for advice and want to take all your energy away, and whenever they're done with you and you're left feeling like, what the heck just happened and what should I do now, that is the point where you need to. And also when it gets to a point where you start scheduling time for your loved ones that you really need to be focusing on, then yeah, that is time for a radical change, and it's time for a divine intervention, not only within yourself but also with your loved ones as well. So focusing on yourself is not selfish. However, it's a selfish act of love whenever you focus on yourself. There's a difference between focusing on yourself as an act of love and then focus on yourself for selfish gain, okay? Like a narcissistic manipulation game type of thing. So with this type of video here, I'm sharing details and information in regards to focusing on yourself on a healthy aspect, because I had to do it, and I'm still doing it till this day. But I really had to sit back and learn how to be selfish for myself, and so I can be able to boost my confidence and my self-love and my self-worth. Because whenever you do get into relationships, the relationships are a partnership thing. It's not a hierarchy type of thing. Like I say in repeated videos, when it comes to love and relationships, when you are committing to somebody, or you're making a commitment with two individuals into one, that's how it should be. You're pouring into each other's cup. As you are pouring to your cup on the individual aspect, and the other person is filling their cup in the individual aspect, and whenever y'all filled with love and support and financial and spiritual and mental well-being, and y'all able to pour into each other's cup that is in that one singular cup, that brings about an overflow of unconditional love, as well as of abundance of infinite prosperity, happiness, and serenity. So we have to keep in mind nowadays that the relationships are a partnership type of thing. There is no hierarchy. There can be a certain hierarchy, but not to the point where it's like a toxic environment. Because when you are getting married, what do you do in the ceremony? You're pouring your cup into one cup, and the other person is pouring their cup in the same cup that you are in. So it's like an equal reciprocity, give and take type of thing. And there definitely needs to be boundaries that are set in order for it to be a healthy union between two people. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into these 7 ways on how to focus on self. All right. So the first thing you want to do is to get better acquainted with yourself, meaning in this box here, getting to know you. All right. Think of yourself as a fascinating person that you want to befriend, but instead striking up a conversation with yourself. Yes, it's okay, because I talk to myself all the time. People will say it's crazy, and people still say it to this day. It's crazy to talk to yourself. However, if it's getting whatever is in your mind out, then that does you some good. Okay, so what you can do is keep a daily journal of your routine conversations with friends, emotions, hobbies, personal frustration, anything that comes into mind. You can make a list of experiences you like to have. You can challenge yourself to try something new each day. You can identify through lists or journals your key likes and dislikes. And also you can identify strengths and areas where you like to grow. Okay. With these exercises, they can help build a more complete picture of yourself as a person in the individual aspect, okay, outside the influence of anybody. All right, so that's number 1, get acquainted with yourself. Number 2 is to make sure you're seeking what you really want, meaning as much as people like to live through other people's shadows, it's important that you figure out what you really want to do, because everybody is different. Everybody has their individual goals, aspirations. The list goes on, accomplishments, and the list goes on. There is never no one similar person. So as much as you will want to have that sort of recognition and admiration from your parents or family that you are going to do this, and this, like you're going to school for education, and but once you get into that school and you figure out you want to do something else, is it for your good, or is it for the individual that wanted you to go to school for this certain purpose? I'm gonna give you an example. Most parents back then, some of them now, they want their kids to go to school for doctor or lawyer or engineering type of thing. And when the kid gets there, get to that capacity to want to pursue in that career, there could be a certain circumstance where the kid does not want to pursue that career field anymore, and there's something else that they will pique their interest. And then when they revert back and try to tell their family that, hey, I veered off to this career field here, and they get some sort of backlash, it's just like, well, dang, was that for your being, or was it for your parents being, so they can be able to showboat that, yeah, my kid graduated as an engineer, yes, my kid graduated as a doctor, a lawyer, a psychologist, okay, some bragging rights, basically. So just make sure when you are seeking what you really want, if it's against societal norms or ideas like such as dating, relationships, like you could be a person that just want to be single for the rest of their life, and there's nothing wrong with it, because there's a lot of single people out here that's living their best life and not caring what societal ideas has been projected on them for so long. So in other words, do you. For number 2, do you. Number 3 is create a self-care plan. This could be done by make time for physical activity like exercise, or add a mood boosting food to your diet. And you can give meditation a try. You can also draw or write in a mood journal. You can read a book. I prefer a physical book so I can physically turn the pages, because if I'm looking at a device and I'm just scrolling like this, it just makes me feel like I'm looking at social media, and I don't want to do that. So I would recommend try a physical book that you can physically flip the pages back and forth, because that does set a boundary between you and your phone or your tablet, because you'll be able to veer off quicker when you're on an electronic device looking at a book than when you're having a physical book in your hand. And also aim to spend 2 hours in nature each week. Okay. So you can tailor it however you want to tailor your self-care plan to. With me, usually everybody would do their self-care routines on Sundays. I do mine on Mondays, okay? And that's basically because I study moon cycles, okay? So, because Monday is really self-care day, because you're already drowsy from a boostful celebratory weekend, and then when that Monday comes about, you still in that celebratory mode to a certain degree, and then you're like worn out / hungover from the previous night. So I use Mondays as my self-care days instead of Sundays. Okay. That's number 3. Number 4 is to practice self-compassion. And this is done by showing yourself some love. Don't be too hard on yourself, in other words. There are a few easy ways to tap into self-compassion, meaning instead of pushing yourself to keep going and try harder, when you need to finish an assignment, take a break and give yourself time to recharge. That can definitely play and shouts out to my college students on that one. Try to take breaks when you're studying, because if you're cramming, that's not going to help. Next, there is, rather than criticizing yourself for failure, encourage yourself with a gentle reminder that you did your best and you'll do better next time. Also, give yourself a hug. And yes, you can give yourself a hug. You just wrap your arms around and just pat yourself on the back, okay? And also know when you need a break. And if you don't take a break, at least 15 minutes of a break, your body would definitely let you know, okay? It would definitely let you know and break you down to where you have to sit down. Next, number 5, we have spend some time doing things you love. People in relationships tend to spend plenty of time with their partners. This might work perfectly well for a while, but lacking time for things you enjoy can result in losing your touch with those interests over time. This can leave you feeling frustrated, discouraged, and resentful. So pick a hobby. Choose a hobby that will spark your inner child, and because that can improve your health in all aspects, within not only within yourself but also in a relationship, because you're still having that identity of self within you, instead of submerging yourself in your partner or in your husband or wife. Just find a happy medium and find some hobbies that will take your mind to some imagination island. And then whenever it's time to resume back to the duties of a partner or a housewife or a house husband or a husband or a wife, whatever, however y'all name it nowadays, you can do so and you won't feel burnt out in the end. Which also that stems right back to this other one here, creating a self-care plan, right? Next, number 6, we have avoid comparison trap. In the day and age of social media, we have most people compare themselves to others on occasion. I do that from time to time. However, I will flip it, as stated up in this article. Perhaps you feel a little envious of a particular friend who always seems happy. If only I had their brains or a partner or style or wealth or anything else, I'll be happy too, you think? But you don't actually know how they find fulfillment in life. So in other words, instead of just comparing yourself like, dang, I wish I had this, and that, you can use that as motivation. You can use that comparison trap as motivation, like, let me get my ish together so I can be where they're at, but on the healthier spectrum, because you don't know if that person that you're envying about, whether it's lifestyle, partner, or their finances, you don't know what is going on behind closed doors. To where you may think they're happy on the outside, but behind closed doors, that may be a miserable wreck. All right. And then lastly, is definitely examine your values. This is a big highlight for the most part. Examine your values, because there's a lot of people who have lost their values nowadays. So within this paragraph, it said it's not uncommon to lose sight of your personal values, especially when you find yourself in a rough patch or find yourself single after a long relationship. Taking some time to reconsider the specific qualities you value most can help you refocus attention on who you are, and who you want to become. If you value community, for example, you might look for ways to share time or resources with your community. Once you identify your value, you can begin to explore ways to incorporate them in your life in a meaningful way. Some values such as bravery, optimism, and adventurousness might come naturally to you. Others include honesty, accountability, or leadership may require a little bit more work. This work is worth it. Through the research of 2017 suggests living according to your values can help improve satisfaction with life as well as mental health. And that's basically like, if you have been lowering your values, or you've been lowering your standards to make another person happy, or whatever the case may be, but you know deep down in your heart that is like a no-go, then you're playing a dangerous game when it comes to your state of well-being, because even though you cherish those values, but the other person may not, and the fact that you lower them to where you are satisfying the person mainly and not yourself, then that can cause like some detrimental long-term effects, especially when a relationship has ended in the end. So that's why it's important when you're getting into a relationship with somebody, it's important to remain true to yourself, as well as it's important to remain true within yourself, as well as having some sense of self, meaning you have your own goals, your own aspirations, your own dreams, as well as your own hobbies that help occupy and get your mind off of things that can cause you some stress. That way, whenever your cup is full and you have loved yourself to love yourself fully and unconditionally, you can be able to radiate that same energy to the person that you love or your loved ones, and be by their side whenever it's needed and not all the dang time. Okay. So yeah, the takeaway for this is that yes, utilize these things. The idea of focus on yourself isn't as self-centered as it sounds. In fact, it's one of the best things you can do for your well-being. If you struggle to give yourself attention that you deserve, you can seek a therapist or offer guidance with turning your focus inward and to help you explore more strategies for self-care. All right. So basically, yeah. So that's the takeaway from it. Basically, get acquainted with yourself. Make sure what you want to do is really what you want and not what the other person wants. Make a self-care plan. It don't have to be extravagant. It could be as simple as napping. Okay, because that's what I do. Nap. As soon as I get off work, I need 30 minutes at least to nap. All right. Even when I'm recording videos, I just need at least 15 to 30 minutes to nap so I can recharge. All right. And then number 4, self-compassion. Don't be too hard on yourself, because if not, then your body will tell you to sit your butt down one way or another. Be sure to spend time doing things that you like to do, as far as like any hobbies or goals or dreams or aspiration. Stop with the comparison trap, because you don't know what that person has went through to get to the dreams and aspirations that you are seeing and that you want to acquire. Just stay focused on you. And of course, there is a better way to get to the dream or the motivation behind the person that's close to you or that you see on social media. There's a better and healthy way to get to that point. It may take a long periodically time to get there, but at least whenever you get there, you can be able to sit back, relax, and not worry. Okay. And then lastly, examine your values, making sure that you don't break your values, and know your self-worth to where you don't have to necessarily make those drastic changes in order to make someone else happy or remain peaceful with whatever person that you are with, whether it's a platonic, romantic, or business relationship. Okay, maintain that focus. All right. So with that being said, that is all that I have for you all for this video of focus on yourself. It's important now more than ever to do that, especially in this chaotic times that we are living in. It's important now to be able to increase your vibration. Not only increase your vibration, but also self-improvement is always a reoccurring thing, and there's no stopping until the good source, the Most High, says so. All right. So I thank you all for tuning in to this video. Please leave a comment down below on your thoughts and opinions, and all my social, I'll gladly appreciate it. I read all comments, you know what I'm saying? All my social media links will be in the description box below, as well as the end card of the video. Please share this video so the next person could be able to take the necessary steps to focus on themselves, and not overextend themselves to where it leads to martyrism. And be sure to like the video if you haven't done so already, okay? Because I will be pushing out content. You know, my goal is to be at 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, so I can go live with y'all, so I can interact with y'all. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. What are you waiting on? Hello? Okay. And also hit that notification bell. Make sure you press all so you know the next time I upload a video. And always remember to love thyself, know thyself, soothe thyself, so you can heal thyself. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Now I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Bye.